You know what? What do you think of Michio Kaku? Is he?
He's a brilliant physicist.
Totally,
He's
right?
an interesting guy. He's got some interesting things to say about a lot of different things. But what I would say is,
Has he been on your show?
No. I've been with him on Opie and Anthony show. That was asking him about mushrooms.
You've been on a show with him.
Yeah.
Oh shit! How was that?
I was calling in, man, and I just bombed him with some mushrooms questions.
What did he say?
Or he called in. Maybe he called in and I was there. I forget how it worked. I forget.
You think Michio Kaku smokes weed?
Negative, sir. Negative. Does not do any drugs. Because I asked him.
You asked him?
I asked him
On
about
the show?
psychedelics. Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I
What
asked
did he
him
say?
about mushrooms. He said, "Well, we're not trying to give ourselves brain damage. We're trying to get smarter." It was one of those like, look, man, that guy's like a paid science educator, right? Okay, what he does is try to spread science all over the world. And when you're in that realm, you need funding for stuff. You need people to green light your TV projects. You got to avoid criticism at all costs. And anytime you're saying that it's probably a good idea to do certain drugs, that's just
Yeah,
you can't
stay
do
away
that.
from that.
You can't say, yes, if you do mushrooms, it's very possible that you might be in contact with entities from other dimensions. It's been witnessed.
But if he did do them, he probably would say it.
Oh, he probably would.
Yeah,
Almost
so-
anybody who's really smart, who does like a dose of DMT, comes back and goes, okay, what the fuck is that all about?
He was in this amazing documentary, just a fucking life-changing documentary called The Principle. Have you seen that?
No, I've not.
Fuck yeah, Michio Kaku's in it. A bunch of physicists, like professors from MIT. It's just a bunch of dudes, and like religious scientists too. They have like 2 or 3 of them.
Is this really-
and
is it
like
recent?
10. It's 10. It's called The Principle.
Is it recent?
2 years, and it's just like 10 dudes, like a navigation expert, physicist, Michio Kaku, and they're all just going back and forth. You know, all these astrophysicists and cosmologists and shit going back and forth, discussing space. And they give you a timeline. It's an awesome high-end documentary. They give you a timeline of why we believe what we believe about space. And shit, fuck, it will melt your fucking brain.
Dude.
It's the craziest shit. Have you ever heard of the cosmic microwave background? You know what that is?
The noise that they indicate that it indicates the Big Bang. That
Yes,
noise?
it's the afterglow of the Big Bang.
Right.
So I don't know, dude. I don't know if this is
Is
true.
it called the afterglow? Is that
Yeah, it's like a
something like that?
radiation. It's like the Big Bang. It's
Yeah.
like the radiation
sound.
left over after the Big Bang. Whatever the fuck that means. You know,
When they
whatever
start
that
going
means.
on about that, I get lost in the mix.
But the crazy thing about it, though, this is the crazy thing about it. I don't know shit about that. All I do is just watch them space documentaries we're fed. I used to be addicted to space documentaries. And then when you watch this documentary, you find out why we believe what we believe. And, the timeline of Ptolemy to Copernicus to Kepler to Galileo and all that timeline of what people thought and believed. And it was always a battle of all these astronomers studying the lights in the sky. That's all they saw was the lights in the sky. Studying goes, everything goes this way except those wandering stars. And then they figured out those wandering stars were planets. And then from there, I go, okay, those are the planets because they're the only ones that are on their own course. So they're all trying to figure out, is the universe spinning around us or are we spinning around the universe? That's always that's always been, we think like I always thought, oh, they're dumb back then. They thought the world was the center of the universe and all that shit. And you look back at that, you don't really look into, unless you know the actual timeline. It's crazy hearing all these scientists going back and you hear them explaining how it all went down. Once you go through the whole story of what we think about space and all, they tell you we don't know shit. We're looking at a bunch of lights in the goddamn sky. You're gonna tell me that light and that light that's 100 trillion light years away? How the fuck did you figure that out?
Well, don't they have an explanation for that shit?
No, exactly. That's what you just said right now. What you just said now is what everyone's
did we
natural
go-
reaction. Because anytime
deep?
someone says anything about space, you automatically think Someone figured it out. You don't know the guy's name. You don't know the name of the experiment. You didn't look into it yourself. You just think when someone tells you, how far is the Earth from the sun? They'll say, 93 million miles away. Like you just,
Right.
you
Googled it.
everybody relies on someone figured that out and someone double checked it. Dude, it's math.
Right.
It's science. It's math. But no one really knows. You're going on what you read and whatever hits you first.
You mean no one like that we're talking to?
Yeah, like,
Obviously,
I don't know.
Someone
I mean, if
has
I
been
told
measuring
you,
this stuff.
Yeah, if I told you,
I don't know how they measure
if I
it,
told
but I'm
you
sure
right
there's
now,
like a logical method of measurement.
Yeah, like you figured someone figured that out.
Well, no,
right?
I just assumed that if there's a bunch of guys that are trying to figure out how to get to the moon and back and Mars and back, and they're sending these rovers around that are shooting video back, they know how many miles it is.
Yeah.
They've got it figured out in
Totally.
a calculation. I just don't know what the method they use.
Someone figured it out. You don't know the guy's name.
Right.
You don't. There's names of experiments. Like you could actually look in and
Right.
you look at. There was an experiment called the Michelson-Morley experiment that tried to prove that the Earth was moving. So they assumed like that the space is filled with an ether. Like that's what dark matter maybe is, or dark
Whoa.
energy. There's an ether. So let's like measure the light waves going through the ether as it hits the Earth, and then we'll measure it back, and we'll be able to tell if there's an ether based on the light going against the ether and with the current. It's like you're swimming relative to the ground. You know, if you're swimming against the current, you go one way, and if you're going a certain speed, but if you go along the current or the other way, you're going way faster. It's like that, but they couldn't measure shit. When you look into Michelson-Morley experiment, the results were we couldn't measure that we're moving at all. So it's always been a debate. Are we moving? Aren't we moving? Even with Einstein, it was a debate. Did like in the fucking 20s and 30s, they still didn't know. You assume, yeah, it's moving. It says right here, 1,000 miles an hour, it's rotating. But the people at the top don't even know. They don't even know, but we assume because we read it somewhere that they know, but it's all guesswork. When you watch this documentary, I'm just repeating shit, dude. When you watch this, they're all saying we're studying. This is when they found what they found in the cosmic background. They took one reading in 2006 and one in 2013, and the one in 2006. This is what the documentary is about. All these science are talking about it. Is they took a picture. It's called the cosmic microwave background. It's a picture of all the galaxies all the way around you. And they took a picture. They did it in 2006. It's not a conspiracy theory. This is a science documentary that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a conspiracy theory documentary. It's a science documentary. Michio Kaku was talking
what's
about
it called
this.
again?
The Principle.
Okay.
The
I'll
Principle.
check it
It's
out.
called the Copernicus Principle. And what they found, this is what they found. In the first reading, and they thought there must be a mistake. There must be a mistake. Until 2013, the European Space Agency, they found the same thing. And this is what, right now, cosmology, they don't know what the fuck to do. You know what they found out? The cosmic microwave background shows that all the galaxies are on shelves lined up to us. That we're at the fucking center. They don't know what to think about.
This is in this documentary?
That's what the documentary is about.
This is pull this documentary up, Jamie. This is a recent documentary?
Yeah, there's a lot of controversy going on about it.
So who is it that thinks that the universe is in shelves?
That's what they're analyzing. They're looking at in space. That's what they're looking at, just heat.
Okay.
And all the heat is all lined up like in shelves, and it's all around. They don't know what to think. That's what this documentary is about. Is in 2006 they go, okay, but that must be a mistake. That must be a mistake. So they didn't do it again until 2013. European Space Agency in Paris. They had a fucking press conference about it. It was the exact same thing. So they don't know what to think right now. Right now, cosmology is like, if that's true, if we are the center of the universe, that means everything that we've ever taught or ever knew is all wrong. So that's where they're at, right? That's what the documentary is about.